Welcome back. We've now found some of the best performing pain points or aspirations given your market, your demographic, your audience. Amazing. What those earlier tests did, the pain point testing, is to verify that the pain, the need, the thing that people care about is real and your audience actually cares. The next step is, are they actively looking for a solution? I know it sounds like a weird thing, but you'd be surprised. Often you could have a really strong emotional statement that does really, really well. But as soon as you offer a fix for it, they don't really care. What we're trying to do is prove that they do care. We want to make sure that it's not just that they have this pain, but they actively want to solve it. Again, this is B2B, direct to consumer, all kinds of different platforms, and we're going to use this language in a variety of different ways. If you're on the path and Meta's working for you, great. This is the next thing. Hopefully we're going to get even better metrics. We're basically going to take the same approach as we did with the pain points. We're going to create those terrible looking color blocks. We're going to use the same parameters of around 400 impressions. We're going to use the same rules to make sure they shut off. But this time what we're testing is, are people actively looking for a solution to the problems that we've identified? So what I'm about to do is walk through another live example that hopefully works of how to use an AI engine to turn your top performing pain points into a series of headlines that you're going to use in your next test. We also have a whole bunch of content below that if you want to try your hand at writing or you have other ideas of what you think is going to make the best headline, just read through some of the context below. And with that, let's get started. So you could totally create your own headlines. We have a whole bunch of best practices below, but if you're not a marketer and you're not quite sure where to start, this is a great way to get going. I'm going to walk through it in a live demo again, and hopefully everything works out. I'm going to continue on with my whole discussion about an electric RV company that, again, I'm not doing all of the work, so I don't have all of the specifics for, but I'm going to use that as my example. So this is just a prompt. Again, change anything that's green if you want to. It has a couple instructions on how to set up these headlines. And then down here, before you paste the prompt, you're going to want to make sure that you have your top pain points or aspirations in here. And just for context, you might want to add your product description again. So I've already written it just so that I can skip ahead in this. It's already in here. I grabbed 10 of my pain points. I've added in my product description as well. And now I'm just going to submit this and see what happens. And once it starts writing, we'll jump back in and I'll give you a bit of an update. Okay, and so now we're back. Now, I was just using 10 random pain points. I think I should have used better ones. So there could have been a bit of a better response in this, but there's a couple in here that are good. Now, one of the things that we like to do with this document is respond back to the AI and kind of give it an idea of like, hey, this is a thing that you said, this is a thing you did, but it wasn't really aligned to my product, or I'd like to see something a little bit different. So I'm going to do that just to make sure that we have a little bit more context to ensure that the headlines are a little bit more accurate to what I'm expecting them to be. Okay, so all I've done here is I added in the statements above, you mentioned, and I put in quotes, are you still towing like it's 1999? And then I add, but it doesn't tie back to any of my main pain points or aspirations. Finally, a way to tow without stress, but it's not clear what the stress is. I'm not sure my audience will engage. So I've just grabbed 4 that I didn't really think hit the mark. So I'm going to say, hey, please reevaluate the headlines based off of this information, and we'll see what happens. Okay, again, I know this is a completely fake example, but honestly, just that little bit of context has added a bunch of better responses to what I'm trying to do. So if you need to, you can go back and tweak a couple times. Just make sure that when you read them, they feel like they'd be statements that you would engage with. It's aligned with your expectation of what your customer's looking for, and it ends up with a statement that is intriguing, interesting, and I'm far more likely to engage. Now, jumping back to our creating headlines document, we have a couple other optional prompts in here. I do really like the style of Frank Kern, so I tend to use him a lot. For variation, I threw in Larry Fink. Feel free to use whoever you want. The idea here is that we're just trying to create some additional variation. So this way, I can go in and grab this prompt and kind of see if there's something else that I might like better or something that you might think works a little bit stronger with your audience. So I'm going to jump back to my open chat. I'm just going to add this prompt and we'll see what it comes up with. Okay, and now we've got 2 different responses. Honestly, they're both pretty good. I think we could go in and if we really wanted to, we could prompt it again to say, hey, here's things I like, here's things I don't like. But the reality is that we now have 60 or so headlines that we can now test and see what's going to work the best. If these are all based off of tested and proven pain points and aspirations, chances are we're going to get some of these that work really, really well. So you can run all 20, you can run as many as you want. Keep in mind that the more you run, the more costly it's going to be, or you could pick your favorites. Jumping back over to our creating headlines document, I've also tried this one. Now, sometimes it works really well, sometimes not as well. However, the idea here is that you can go and you can try and get an AI to help pick out some of the best ones if you're struggling. If not, just pick the ones that you like the most. The idea is testing. If you test them and they all work, great. And if they don't, well, now you have a resource where you can go back and try some more. Now we have a bunch of headlines that we can test against. We're going to do the same thing as we did last time. The difference is that in the pain point testing, we're verifying that the pain is real and people care. Now what we're doing is we're testing to see if they're actively looking for a solution. We're going to throw these in the same color blocks and make sure that they come across in the exact same way. We're going to set the same rules. We're going to set up the campaign in the exact same way as you did. In fact, you could duplicate the campaign and just change out the ads with these ones instead. The same rules apply. We're looking for a cost per click of under 50 cents and a click-through rate of over 1%. So make sure you set up the same campaign, set up the same kind of rules, and go out and run this test again. And hopefully we'll get even better results than last time. If not, it doesn't matter. As long as we're hitting those thresholds that we care about, we can progress into the image tests.